Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Chaotic Sports Podcast. My name is Chris Sarda. This is Angelo Sorboro. And Soror. It's hard to say your name.
Which Rob thinks. I got something in the mail recently.
Soror. Yeah, I got it. Sororboro?
Yeah, so I noticed after. I read it. And that's what I thought when he's asked for my address. I figured I didn't think he was going to come over or something. I figured he's going to send something in the mail. It was going to be some
He's not going to come over.
No.
Yeah, don't say
what.
We're recording.
Don't say what.
Whatever. No, definitely don't say your address. But he spelled it Sororoboro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I didn't notice.
Soroboro.
I didn't notice till after. Then I'm looking at the front of the envelope. And it's it was just an extra couple O's or something, I'm this guy doesn't know my last name.
Who does? How often do you see him? Not that much. But
not that much.
How did he spell it? Soroboro?
I think he's
How do you spell your last name? Just say.
Well, I can't, you
already said it 6 times, dude.
All I gotta say is he just added a couple O's and an R. So it was
Oh, there's 2 R's in there.
No, there's 1 R.
No, but he added the 2.
He added
S-O-R-R.
And O, another O. So it was my name was 14 letters.
I have that with a real Italian name.
Yeah, it was dang, my name is long as hell.
Your Italian name right now is way too short to be Italian. It's more like Macedonian. No. Yeah, I do I think that there's an extra O in there and it's not pronounced. Because I think I might spell your name with an extra O. Soroboro.
That's how I spelled it, with an extra R and O or something like that.
Yeah, but it's Bor. Oh. Anyway. Anyway, now that we know who the co-host is and how to spell it.
I'm just telling the fans, too, they'll learn how to spell our names eventually. They see it enough.
Well, if they follow us on Twitter, @ChaoticSports, it says your name and my name right there. So, look how empty it is for a no-hitter. That guy... That foul ball went into the empty stands, and this
guy that you don't think is going to be at a baseball game is at a baseball game.
Yeah, and he's running. He runs wearing a St. Louis jersey, by the way.
So he's
runs across 20 empty seats,
and dives over
easily gets the foul ball.
Well, he easily gets the foul ball because there's only one other person to compete against.
Where is everyone at the Boston Orioles?
So Christopher's talking about Orioles, Boston. It's in Baltimore.
You've never called me Christopher before.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm in trouble
on the text. When I'm talking crap, it's always Christopher.
Is it? I don't know. Is it?
So this game he's talking about, it's 1 p.m. there. No, actually now it's 3 or something. But it's 4-0 in the 7th, shutting out Boston, which is about to blow up. They're about to score. There you go. There's a home run as we.
That's not a home run.
Double.
It's a double.
But this is what I was going to say.
The no-hitter's over.
Yeah, Boston's about to put up a bunch of runs, and he just hit a freaking double. I didn't even know he had a no-hitter right there.
The no-hitter might have been over, actually, if it was when we turned on the game, it was bases loaded. I turned on this game because I had a notification that a no-hitter was...
Oh, that's a home run.
...was coming.
That's a home run.
Well, they'll decide there.
Well,
anyway, it's been a couple weeks. We haven't been doing our normal Thursday. That's not a home run.
That's a home run.
That's not a home run. It has to go over the yellow.
No, it doesn't. Let's go over the little...
Anyway, we haven't been doing our normal... Do you want to watch a baseball game or do you want to do a show?
Well, we're doing both.
Yeah. We haven't been doing our normal Thursday morning release because I now work in the day. So
there's a lot of pain we've given to the people, the listeners, because they've been fiending for 2 weeks
for your just incredible knowledge and sports acumen is what they want, and they haven't gotten it for 2 Thursdays.
So we don't know we don't know if it's gonna start coming out Fridays, Saturdays.
I think we might be better off having a Monday morning show come out.
Just the
beginning of the week. I think Thursday it was hard because stuff would happen and stuff was about to happen.
Well, we got to figure out some schedule stuff, but it could be manic Mondays.
I like this. Yeah, manic. Record on Sunday, do Monday. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Anyway, enough about that. What's the lead right now? What's the big story that we missed? There's a few.
I'm going to say we didn't. We missed talking about it.
Well, on air, we've talked about it.
Yeah, I would say the biggest story lately in my mind would be Harden Westbrook.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
teammates coming back together.
So let's talk about that. I actually have a lot to say about that because as good as Chris Paul is, and as much as the Rockets tried to pretend like there was not really any problems there, they were obviously trying to trade him, and they were able to do it. It worked out because Paul George left, and that made Oklahoma City decide they need to rebuild. That made Russell Westbrook decide that, hey, he tried to make it in Oklahoma City, but people are leaving on him. Let's look for a trade and make everyone better off. OKC didn't need Russell Westbrook if they were trying to basically tank.
OKC did the right thing. Yeah, they're tanking and they're rebuilding. They got all these picks, and they're gonna just stack up.
Exactly. And the thing is, I think that there's two things why Russell Westbrook's a plus on the Rockets, but there's also a minus there. We'll talk about in a second. One, CB3 has trouble playing, 60 games. You know that he's going to spend some time hurt. And you got to hope it's not during the playoffs, essentially.
The biggest reason, though. But it's going to kind of be with Westbrook.
Well, no, that's the minus. I know what the biggest reason. Yeah. So we'll talk about that minus in a second. But so the pluses are one, Russell Westbrook will be there, right? The second one, I think, is that at this point in their career, Westbrook is a better point guard than CP3. I think CP3 might have a better mind, but Russell Westbrook. Can add to the stats.
More athletic. He's
not. You lose something in shooting, but you got Harden there. Harden's going to take a lot of shots too. Russell Westbrook might not be the best shooter, but Harden's there for that. But that can bring us to the minuses, which I think you wanted to say, and I'm gonna add one after you say this.
Well, I was going to say the minus with Chris Paul.
Is ball dominant.
Exactly. I was going to say, Chris Paul and Harden, but actually it's going to be close like that with Westbrook. Harden.
Exactly. So it's like the thing that maybe didn't work out. I don't know that this is true. I think it worked out fine, but the narrative is that Paul and Harden are both ball dominant, and that was why it didn't work out. In quotes, is what I'm saying. But you put Westbrook in there. Westbrook's ball dominant too.
It's going to be the same thing.
That's going to be similar.
But they are former teammates. They're buddies. They might be able to hash it out.
Yeah, so that brings me to two additional little minuses. Number one, I don't think the ball dominant thing is an issue. I think just the Chris Paul's attitude on the floor was an issue. I think that there are enough, just the way D'Antoni plays.
There's enough points on the scoreboard too.
Yeah, there's enough possessions the way that D'Antoni plays that they're going to be going back and forth.
They're going to score 120 a game. Yeah.
It's not like they're playing. It's not like they're playing like 2008 Detroit Pistons style ball. You know what I mean?
And there's only scoring 90 points, and then it's like Westbrook only can score 10 now.
And there's one 2/3 the opportunities because the ball's going so quick. Going back and forth so quick. The other thing I'm going to say is a negative is that the last time they played together, Harden's coming off the bench, and now Harden is the A player on the team.
I mean, he was the A player then.
No.
Just people didn't know it.
They didn't know it, but he wasn't the A player. He may have been the skill of an A player, but Durant was... he was definitely the C.
Yeah, Durant wasn't the best player.
I mean, Harden was coming off the bench, so he wasn't. You can even make an argument Cephalosha was a more used player than Harden.
It was, but so you're saying all of a sudden Westbrook's not
the role switched.
I know, but it's not like Westbrook's going to be surprised at that switch. He's been seeing Harden light up the league for years, so it's not like he's going to Houston and be like, "Damn, this guy's a different player." He already knows.
Well, and the relationship between Harden and Westbrook and Durant is a little bit different because Durant needed someone to give him the ball. At least half the possessions, Harden's just going to come up the court with the ball himself. Right? Durant was never going to play point or come up with the ball. He needed Westbrook to give him the ball. In this case, they're both going to come up with the ball.
And Harden and Westbrook were a little bit more buddies than Westbrook, Durant.
Durant's not buddies with anyone.
Harden didn't leave like Westbrook.
Yeah.
And they both, I think they have similar attitudes. They dress similar. Right? They have like the two craziest freaking wardrobes in the NBA. So they're going to be able to talk about their stuff, coordinate with each other on and off the court.
Wearing those glasses.
Yeah.
Without
Do you not
lenses.
know that you see them walking into the stadium every day? They have the two craziest freaking pregame.
I think that Westbrook's a little bit crazier. Something we brought up today, texting each other. I want to talk about though too, because not thinking about the East. If you think about the West odds right now in most sports books, it's Clippers, Lakers, Rockets for the West only. I know that Milwaukee and the 76ers are working in there, but for the West. But while maybe those odds are true, I think head-to-head, the Rockets beat a team like the Lakers, and
I mean,
I was surprised that you agreed.
Your team's Houston. Too bad you didn't bet Houston to win the championship like 2 weeks ago.
You still can.
No, I'm just saying it was like the odds were probably like 15-1 then.
Yeah,
and now they're like 5-1. But I'm just saying.
Well, if I were going to do that, you know who I would bet on? I would bet on Golden State because the odds are really low, but they're going to be healthy when the playoffs start and a 6th seed.
Yeah, people are forgetting about that. And then like Clay comes back, and then all of a sudden
they're acting like it's NASCAR that your regular season record doesn't matter for anything so long as you make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Houston and LA, it's like close, but I just like Harden Westbrook is just a really crazy offensive duo. I mean, they're gonna if they're on in like the playoffs, they're just gonna start rolling teams.
This is the question: is that who covers them on the Lakers? The answer is nobody. Maybe LeBron covers Harden, but that leaves Weckham.
Paul George is going to probably guard Harden, I think.
Huh?
Paul George.
Paul George is a Clipper.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that the Lakers are too big and they don't really have a point guard. So these
Kuzma,
guards are going to
Kuzma.
Yeah, these guards are going to just tear it up. And in my mind, Houston plays so fast that, you know, where the Lakers dominate is on the big side. It's not going to matter as much because Houston plays so fast and they're going to play so small that they're going to score a bunch. And
so who's their center? I was just about to say, Capella.
Clint Capella, but then they also signed. A good. Who did they just sign? They also signed someone good off the bench, a big.
Oh, they got a big.
They got another big off the bench. Okay. So when Clint Capella gets when they have to sit him for free throws at the end of the game. They got another big. I can't remember who it was.
So Houston's they have like a medium 3 right now. They have a big 2, medium 3, but their medium 3 is pretty good. You know who the third guy I'm talking about?
Who
for Houston?
Who?
So you got Harden, Westbrook, and their third guy that can score, light it up some games. That's pretty good. That I like as a player, Eric Gordon.
Oh yeah.
So like
Eric coming off the bench.
Though. Is he really? He's gonna be a 6 man.
Guard.
Yeah. Well, you're right. He's been coming up, but I mean, he could just score. I just like Eric Gordon's a good player.
No, I agree 100% because he's a starter on a lot of different teams, and him coming off the bench is really big. And if they decide to play small, and Harden plays the small forward, and then you have you run Gordon and Westbrook as the wings, and that works too. So he could start if they play small.
Depending on how
that would mean they're playing smaller than even Golden State ever did. You know, because Draymond's still pretty big. You know.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. It's a good matchup with the Lakers. I mean, it might be.
It is, but I think that from an offensive point of view, that the guards dominate. Will dominate the scoring and really tear up the Lakers guards as they stand right now, and that even though the Lakers are way better on the big side with AD and LeBron, that you have to play slower with bigger players, right?
Yeah.
So Clint Capella is going to do well enough. I mean, he's going to get dominated by AD, obviously, but not the way that Harden and Westbrook are going to dominate those guards.
We'll see with the Lakers.
The Clippers, though, I think beat up on the Rockets.
I mean, Clippers, they obviously got it great with Kawhi and Paul George and stuff.
Yeah, because Kawhi can slow that down. Can be put on the hot person, and then Paul George, to me, is a big that plays.
They're going to be good defensively too. Paul George and Kawhi.
Exactly. So the defense really comes together there.
But I'm saying with the Lakers, I'm thinking their hope to be good or great relies on a guy that's like in the second year of the league, second or third year.
Who, Kuzma?
Yeah.
You need to see Kuzma.
I mean, if Kuzma like lights it up and Kuzma just steps up, they're going to be a lot really.
I mean,
really
it's good. It's now that Anthony Davis is a veteran, you call him a veteran now. I mean, it's a good set of veterans to be with, I think. And then there's a lot less pressure. I don't think it's the same situation where like Kwame back in the day was with Jordan and may have gotten ruined. I think LeBron might be a better player's player. Where Jordan and Kobe were assholes.
What are you saying, ruining Kuzma?
Yeah, because sometimes when you have like this potential or this hope, and then you go with like you end up next to a superstar in like let's say the Kwame Jordan situation, like Jordan, it's well agreed upon that Jordan may have ruined Kwame Brown. But my idea is whether you think Jordan or LeBron is better, I don't even want to talk about that. My idea is that LeBron isn't going to do that to Kuzma. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but Kuzma's already been in the league a few years. I mean, he knows he's good. He knows he can play.
It's going to be his third year.
But it's like he knows he could already play. It's not like it's his rookie year.
Well, we'll see. That's true too.
I think Kwame Brown was ruined before anything.
I mean, Kwame Brown is like really the only high profile of that era, straight from high school guy that didn't make it.
I mean,
that's important.
You can say Jordan got into his head mentally, but it's like the guy just looked like he didn't know how to play. I mean,
no. I don't even want to go into that because I'm only saying I can't like defend it right now. But it's pretty well agreed upon that Jordan ruined Kwame, and Kobe's done similar things to young players too.
Just get in their head.
Just been like so competitive that he ruined them before they can really develop. Like ruined even their development.
Well, it'd be like on Houston. Hold on, on Houston, if it was a rookie that was great, he could get ruined just from rookie year because he's not going to get the ball all. And because it'd be like Westbrook Harden, and then he's just sitting there.
Well, that could be true too, but you could still like develop slower. What I'm saying is that Jordan's a dick on the way he treated people, a jerk the way he treated people, and Kobe was too. Like they're known for it. That's why they were also great on the field. Yeah. Right? That's also why they were great on the court, but that's a different discussion. Should we move on? Last night, let's talk about a boxing match neither one of us were able to watch. I was at a concert and you were
I was just watching updates. Yeah.
Yeah. You were doing your job as a hitman. And segue to Pacquiao. Now, before this started, you were like talking about him retiring, which I think is crazy.
No, I'm saying he should think about retiring soon.
Well, he has thought about it.
Wasn't like he technically fights.
He technically retired 3 or 4 years ago.
That's only because not that he's not still good. It's because he's getting older. He's 40 or so, going to be 41. He's taking a lot of hits. I knew he could still win a couple more fights, but I'm saying he should be thinking about retiring soon.
Well, he did. He's been thinking about it for probably 6 years because he actually retired a few years ago. He came back. People thought he was out of it. He had a couple fights in Asia, and in one of them he didn't look really good. I can't remember the name of the fighter right now.
He ended up winning, but
he's still winning, but it looked bad, and he may have even lost. And then last couple fights, including last night, he looked close to the old Pacquiao again. He won in a split decision, but all the broadcasters and journalists, boxing journalists I trust, all had him win pretty clearly. I haven't watched the fight yet.
Yeah.
But who I have watched a lot is Thurman. And Thurman's a really good fighter. He's a top 3 welterweight.
So you're impressed that...
I'm very impressed.
By all those guys saying Pacquiao won that fight, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm very impressed that Pacquiao stood with him and beat him. Basically what it did was basically prove he probably needed a little rest and a little warm-up. And he's really the same. Now, whether he should be thinking about retiring, of course he should. He's 40. Right? But now that he's beaten Thurman here... everyone's talking about a Mayweather fight. I don't want to hear about it because Mayweather's retired. He doesn't care. He's got 50 wins in a row. He topped it fighting the other most popular fighter in the world.
Yeah, you're going to hear about it because it's going to be like hundreds of millions payday, and they're going to keep talking about it. You know what I mean. The
real story for me is who else he should fight as a welterweight.
So you want to see him just start jabbing off other good fighters. Like Thurman, and now he goes to some other good up-and-comer young guy.
No, he doesn't even need an up-and-comer. I'd be happy with... So here's the problem with boxing, as it always has been, is that there's just so many different promoters, and sometimes it's especially when your promoter is Bob Arum.
You want a fight that you want to see, they're just not giving you.
It's not. Yeah, it's a little bit harder. But there are a ton. But here, none of that matters. Actually, I don't think he's with Arum anymore. I can't remember if Arum promoted the fight last night. But the fact is that in his weight class, there are a ton of great fights. Assuming that promotion isn't an issue and that these are free. Errol Spence Jr. is great. Terrence Crawford would be an incredible fight. Keith Thurman was ranked number 3. We just saw Pacquiao beat him. Sean Porter's an incredible fight. So Pacquiao on at least the ring rankings as of before the fight yesterday, Pacquiao was ranked number 5 as a welterweight.
So he's going to go head-to-head with one of those guys, most likely.
Well, he's going to at least be number 3 now. He should be number 3 at least, you know. And Keith Thurman's a legit boxer. If you would have had Keith Thurman against, I think they have fought actually, but if you would have had, no, they've never fought. If you'd have Keith Thurman against Terrence Crawford, that would be seen as a pretty close fight.
You knew they never fought because they both were undefeated.
Right? Yeah, they are both undefeated. Well, yeah, they're all both undefeated, so that's why. But
so how does he do against Spencer?
Errol Spencer? I don't know. That's what's hard.
Yeah.
That's what it's so intriguing that Pacquiao came out, by most people's accounts, won it pretty clearly, lost a couple rounds in the middle, I think, knocked Thurman down in the first round, which is big, which means the power is still there. It makes it intriguing, like how far can Pacquiao go? And then what your first thought was is how many more fights does he actually want to fight?
But that's a beautiful way to go out, right? They say go out on top. Pacquiao beats Thurman, beats Spencer. Maybe one more fight.
Or even Crawford.
Yeah, and then beat Crawford, then beats Spencer.
Crawford's arguably the best, yeah.
So he beats 3 of the top 5, and then he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, and then just hears rumors about a Mayweather fight again for a million years. But, so that I'm going to have that fight queued. I definitely want to see it. Just because the welterweight division is actually pretty good right now. And Pacquiao, it's funny that Pacquiao is one of the greatest ever, definitely one of the greatest of our era, you know, and he's like climbing up the ladder again. So boxing is as fun as it can be right now. Heavyweights are back. We have some big heavyweights, two Americans, 2 British guys that are big and important.
Heavyweight, everybody wants that to be big, and you're right, it's big right now. It's fun.
And we went 20 years without a good American, and now we have 2. I mean, Andy Ruiz talks, you know, he's Mexican American. Yeah. But we have 2 Americans now that are in that mix, and then along with 2 British guys. So it's not like there's now the language barrier to make it popular here, and then there's not the Klitschko's could speak good English, but then all these fighters are actually much more exciting than the Klitschko's were.
Yeah, well, because they talk a good game too,
and they talk a good game.
Yeah, so it's fun for people, and they're good fighters.
And then there's some, we have arguably the best power. With man, his name just slipped my mind.
What are you thinking about?
That just fought Fury. His name slipped my mind. I'll remember in 2 seconds.
Oh, the British dude?
No, not the British dude. Deontay Wilder. Oh. So we have arguably the best power in boxing, maybe ever, because Deontay Wilder he feels like he touches people. It's close.
Tyson?
Straight power. Like if you're just punching a wall. I mean Tyson was actually small. No, he has more power than Holyfield. I'm saying power, dude. Holyfield might beat Wilder, but
Tyson was power though back in the day.
Tyson was like a Tasmanian devil. I'm saying one punch, Wilder was probably stronger than Tyson.
I say no way. Tyson was known as the big hitter. Like you just knock you out.
Tyson was known as just being relentless, unbearable. I mean, Wilder is a guy that you might just watch dance around lose 12 rounds and then catch you like he almost would.
Prime Tyson or Wilder, I'd rather get punched by Wilder. So if that means anything.
Okay, you're wrong about that.
No way.
But Fury's might be one of the best technical heavyweights ever. Like he's right up there as far as technicality and being a heavyweight.
He's just so big. And then Anthony fights like he's smaller. I mean, he has a lot of
very intelligent.
Talent, yeah.
And then Anthony Joshua is just the physique, the way he looks like he should be the king of the fighting world. Just his size and his style. Obviously, he didn't look good against. And Andy Ruiz looks completely the opposite, but has Jack Slack, who's a great. He mostly does MMA, but he knows all about striking and stuff. One of my favorite fight journalists to follow. He called Andy Ruiz the fatty with the fast hands. Because Andy Ruiz actually has incredible hand speed for a heavyweight, for his size, for a heavyweight, and it took Joshua.
He's like the big country of UFC,
something like that. Yeah,
just a guy that doesn't look the part totally.
Doesn't look the part. Yeah. And so boxing's in a really good spot right now, so long as the fights get made. I mean, Canelo has people to fight. I mean, the only thing we're missing is Ward, but he's not going to come back.
So we haven't had this. This hasn't been like this. For a long time, there was a gap that was like.
Listen, I feel that it has been. There maybe just wasn't because Maidana and let's say like 8-9 years ago when Maidana and Amir Khan fought each other, and they were at that time were both trying to build up a fight against either Pacquiao or Mayweather, right? They were both. That's 8 or 9 years ago. That was a great fight. I mean, I could point out a bunch of great fights. The problem is that the marketing.
Well, you had the 1 or 2 great fights, but you didn't have
one or two great fights.
You didn't have the large bench. Interest in bench.
No, there was a ton. There was a ton of great fighters.
You thought it was a lot of fighters?
There was a ton of great fighters, yeah.
And heavyweight and
no, heavyweight was a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, overall, maybe?
Heavyweight was an issue because it was a bunch of Europeans that were hard to... It was like Povetkin and the Klitschko's. Yeah. Fury was still building himself up. Even then he's English, right? So he's not going to get super popular here. He is now.
Oh, people love him.
The
dude's so fun to watch, fight,
and here to talk.
Yeah, it's just a good.
His story on Joe Rogan was incredibly. Good. So I mean, that's what happened. That's what needed to be done, and people weren't doing it. But here's the other thing too. Boxing, the landscape of marketing and channels has changed. Showtime is still in it, but they're not a big player. You got a whole bunch of boxing for free now on Fox and ESPN again. Some good fights.
They're showing people are being able to just turn on the TV and boom, there's boxing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about having Showtime, etc. So there's like decent boxing on Fox and ESPN, and then DAZN basically has a great deal now where you have some, not all the best fighters. Pacquiao isn't on it, but you pay you pay 2 pay-per-views, and then you get
fight after fight, huh?
Well, yeah, it's the cost of 2 pay-per-views. Yeah. Canelo's going to fight twice a year, so those 2 right there. You got Anthony Joshua on it. You got a whole bunch of great fighters on it. So the landscape has changed to where it's fun, exciting, and it's sort of like meeting the streaming nature of the market now. Where before it was all HBO at like 9 p.m. and Showtime, and those fighters never fought.
You had to wait months and months.
Yeah,
basically.
And Wilder and Fury, who are in 2 different promotions, prove that if the fighters want to fight, it'll happen. So all they did was prove that all those years of Manny versus Floyd was bullshit.
No, they were just playing with people's minds.
Yeah,
they were playing with people's minds.
So I was real hesitant to talk about. I could talk about boxing for a long time, even though I don't always remember names. I was hesitant to talk about it because I wasn't able to watch the Pacquiao fight.
That's fine. We can watch it later, but we just talk about what's going on. So,
but that makes me want to switch to the other fights I didn't watch last night, which was the UFC. Leon Edwards defeated Dos Anjos, which was actually a great matchup because I wasn't sure who's going to win. Dos Anjos has the tendency to be... Dos Anjos is that guy that is one of the best in his division, but it shouldn't surprise you whether he loses or beats the top guys.
He's kind of like Aldo.
No, that's not a good...
No, because he's loses some fights that you think he might win.
No, Aldo's not good because Aldo was like top of the line and now is not. Like he just got older or got past him. He's more like Cowboy, except at a higher level. Cowboy, you really don't know if he's going to win or lose against
anybody
guys.
Or lose to anybody.
Yeah, and Dos Anjos is like that, maybe a step above. And so Leon Edwards was hard because he's been fighting. He has this long winning streak, but the UFC tends to put these British fighters on European cards, and that means that he's not necessarily fighting like maybe fighters in America that are super hard, but the last couple wins have been great, including Dos Anjos last night.
So that was the main fight last night?
Yeah.
Because I saw some of the undercards.
Yeah, and it's a big deal because that puts Leon Edwards in the discussion with Jorge Masvidal, the championship fight. Jorge, and this is the fight, if you remember a couple months ago, Jorge Masvidal got in a fight during an interview. Do you remember that?
Backstage or something?
Backstage? Yeah. That was with Leon Edwards.
Okay.
So now they both come off new wins, and Leon Edwards is calling for a title fight.
Sounding staged, huh?
Yeah, it does.
It's like wrestling. It's like they get in a fight, and then all of a sudden, now here's the fight, you guys,
Well, what's his name? I'm so bad with names, and it's so embarrassing. The guy that Masvidal just beat with the knee, the wrestler. Come on. It's so easy. I say his name all the time.
I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. He knocked him out the fastest knockout in history.
Yeah. So he thought that he was never going to get that Masvidal fight. He assumed that Masvidal and Leon Edwards are going to fight right away because they got in a fight in the locker room. But now that they both come off wins, Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Askren,
yeah.
Now that Ben Askren or now that Ben Askren fight is done, Masvidal won. Leon Edwards won another fight against a big fighter.
Yeah.
Now they almost have to fight. The problem is that neither one wants to fight unless it's for the title. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it makes sense to them because they're scared to lose, and then they don't get a shot or something.
Well, here's the other problem: Colby Covington fights in 2 weeks. He's the interim champion.
You fight who you fight. So that's a bad thing because it's not a schedule like in other sports.
Yeah, so Colby Covington's going to fight Lawler, which is a great fight. So assume he beats Lawler. Now you got 3 guys that all think they deserve the title fight against Kamaru Usman, who's hurt and won't fight probably for another 4 or 5 months. So someone needs to fight in that mix.
So the 2 of them need to fight, and then the winner fights the other guy.
The problem is that Colby is the interim champion, and they sort of punished him because he didn't take a fight right away. They sort of punished him and made him not fight immediately for the championship.
Because he didn't take that fight.
So welterweight is really cool, and that's not saying anything about Tyron Woodley, who's still in the mix. He lost.
He's been away for a little while, right?
Yeah, he lost. I think was it him that broke his hand?
Something.
Yeah. So dude, there's just this huge logjam of people that need to fight in the UFC. We got to see how it's going to work out.
It's a good
time.
And
welterweight, just like welterweight in boxing, even though the weight classes aren't, it's a different weight. Actual weight. They're called welterweights, but they're 147 in boxing.
But aren't we? Yeah.
And they're 170 in the UFC.
We're also getting the Diaz, right? We're getting a Diaz fight soon.
Yeah,
that's fun. I mean, it's a good time right now. You're getting more fights on for boxing on ESPN, and you said the Zone and all this stuff, and then like UFC on ESPN. We're getting like good matchups and stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of a
we normally skip fights. Diaz is fighting Pettis, by the way. We normally skip fighting in this show, but as you know, except for maybe
apparently
football.
We love to talk about fighting, but we just don't. I mean, it's fun to watch and stuff.
Well, it's like a different sports fan.
But it's still it's fun. It's fun. There's some good fights coming up.
Yeah, but and I feel like we're forgetting to me what it might be the biggest fight in the UFC is, and people don't care about Stipe versus Cormier. The rematch is big for me.
That's big for everybody. Heavyweights, everybody loves that.
Yeah, but it's not the big talking names. You know what I mean?
Cormier's. I think Stipe is. Cormier's never been really. He's just kind of like
Stipe doesn't talk that much.
No, but he's a big draw. I think Cormier's just kind of always been.
I think Cormier is a bigger draw than Stipe.
Cormier just doesn't talk a lot of crap, and it's just not his draw.
Talks a lot of crap to John Jones.
Yeah, Jones would have been a big draw if he just didn't do all that weird stuff for years.
He still is. But he's probably the biggest draw right now, except for Conor.
That's why that fight was big, though, right?
2, yeah.
Jones versus Stipe was huge.
Stipe,
whatever. That was huge.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough about fighting. What do you got in baseball? What's big? We've been slowing down with baseball because of all the basketball talk prior, but it's post All-Star game. It doesn't look like anyone's interested in this Orioles and Boston game here.
Nobody's watching that. Well, in baseball, we have the Dodgers are on a big winning streak,
As
far as
they had a little low,
Indians
they had a little lull.
8 in a row. I mean,
Indians are
struggling, but
Indians
they've been winning.
The Indians are shortening that games behind.
I mean, because Indians are obviously they don't have Kluber, Carrasco. They have all these injuries, but they're starting to pick up. I think
they're 5 games behind.
Yeah, because they won 8 in a row recently.
And some of those are against the Twins. So those are big. Yankees are hot. I think they're on a 6-game winning streak.
They are
as of this.
Yeah, they might lose today. They're getting blasted right now, but
they have to end at some time.
A few other teams that A's won 6 out of 7, but they're.
Well, I'll tell you who low key is going to be dangerous in the playoffs if they make it, because they're definitely going to be a wild card. Is the Padres. Yeah, if they
were talking that they might get Bauer or something.
I was going to say, so that's the big thing. They need one more pitcher, at least. The Dodgers actually need another reliever, but they need one more pitcher, and they can surprise people. I think.
They got a good roster because all those young guys and stuff are coming and playing good. Tatis and
exactly.
Machado.
So it's the kind of team. It's the kind of team that can really spark in the playoffs and beat someone like the Cubs in that opening series. If they play the Cubs,
especially if they
or
got
they
another
play
good pitcher.
Or they play who's first place in the East right now? The Phillies or Atlanta?
Phillies, Braves, maybe.
Well, either one, because one of those teams are going to be the wild card for sure. So, I can see San Diego getting hot and beating the Cubs, Phillies, or Braves. And those are all three great teams, by the way. Those teams could even beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. But the Padres, to me, are a very dangerous team. Hopefully they do get a pitcher. Well, not hopefully. I'm a Dodger fan. I hope they don't get a pitcher. But for the sake of Padres fans, hopefully they get a pitcher and make it a little more interesting there.
But you don't see them beating the Dodgers.
MVP right now? Huh?
You don't see them beating
the Dodgers. I don't see anyone. To me, this is where the Dodgers are right now, especially if they add another reliever, is they feel like the hot team, like Houston did 2 years ago and like Boston did last year. Because the Dodgers were good last year and the year before, but it just felt like Houston was so hot, and it just felt like the Red Sox were so hot, and the Dodgers were really good, but they weren't going to beat either of those teams. And this year, it feels like the Dodgers are that team.
Everything's going right for the Dodgers.
And it doesn't feel lucky either. Like I'm not going to say that all those wins they had a couple years ago were lucky, but it still felt like, okay, they just had a lot of pieces. Now they have a genuine MVP. They never had a genuine MVP. They just had all the pieces to put together. Now, Bellinger's an MVP. We don't expect him. I think he hit 150 in the playoffs last year, and really didn't play good.
That's not happening this year.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to happen this year.
No,
you know what I mean. Justin Turner is still a 300 hitter. Puig is gone, so it's not that random piece that you have there where it's either going to be really good or really bad. I love Puig, but there's the outfield is nice in there.
Who's the other guys like Taylor or Seager? Who's all?
So a guy I like off the bench, a great veteran coming off the bench is David Freese. Okay. It seems like I see him scoring all the time as a pinch hitter, or getting an RBI. Yeah. To me, the big scary thing for the Dodgers is the bullpen. I mean, last night they gave up a 6-run lead to the Marlins.
Besides Jansen, they need another.
Jansen's fine, although I don't get the feeling that he's as dominant as a couple years ago. If they got another closer, that'd be great. Just so they don't put a lot on him. Because in the playoffs, there was times where he's pitching 2.5 innings.
They're going to have to.
But they need another guy. They need another guy. So they ended up winning last night. But the bullpen gave up 6 runs.
They're going to have to score a lot of runs, so that if the bullpen gives up a few, they're still going to win by a few.
Yeah, and that's what happened last night. They gave up a 6-run lead, and then they hit a home run in the 9th or something like that. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that either. I didn't watch the fights or baseball. But yeah, otherwise I don't think that they're gonna be tough to beat.
No, yeah, they are definitely. So you were talking about MVP. So it's like right now it's like co-MVPs or something. It's so hard
in the National League.
Well, yeah, Yelich and Bellinger. It's like first, second, first. It's like both of them. Yelich has more home runs and better batting average or something. Bellinger just leading in
everything
4
else.
Other categories. Yeah. So right now, I really couldn't say. I really would be split. It's like they're leading all these categories 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's hard to say.
I don't think Yelich is leading Bellinger in batting average. I think Bellinger's on the way to triple. He could be on the way to triple.
Yeah, maybe Bellinger's slightly ahead of him, but Yelich just has more home runs than I thought.
Yelich does have more home runs.
I thought he was leading one other category, but you're right. Bellinger, as of a couple weeks ago, was first in all kinds of categories, which might be maybe he's not.
Well, let's check the batting leaders as of now. For wins above the replacement, which is the most important to me because that includes defense, Bellinger is number 1 in the National League, and if you want wins above the replacement, should always be compared to Mike Trout. I don't have Mike Trout up here, but Mike Trout is probably near the same. Bellinger's hot, but Mike Trout is always there. Yelich has better offensive wins above replacement. But let's talk about stuff that we can talk about. Batting average, McNeil is first, Yelich is second, and Bellinger is third. On base percentage, Yelich is first, Bellinger is second, Bryant is third. Slugging percentage, it goes Yelich, Bellinger, and Josh Bell. Yeah, he's leading. Well, neither one of them would have the traditional Triple Crown because McNeil is leading in batting average. Of course, Yelich is leading in on-base plus slugging if he's leading those other two, but they're right there together. I don't know. I think I'd have to give it to Yelich.
At the second.
Yeah. Bellinger's scoring more runs, but Yelich is only 3 behind him. If it was this second, I would give it to Yelich.
That's crazy, though, how good of a year.
But it's close, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's close.
That's why I was it's a split, because these guys are totally dominating and like every
I mean, dude, it's literally if let me put it this way, these stats are so close that if the Brewers have played 2 more games than the Dodgers, then you have to say Bellinger. That's how close these stats are. 35 home runs to 34. Yelich is winning.
Or if the Dodgers play a doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah. It depends on how many games.
Bellinger's going to lead them.
Look at this. Total bases. Yelich is only leading Bellinger by 5. Runs scored. Bellinger is only leading Yelich by 3.
So it's a good battle towards the end of the season right here.
Oh, yeah. 7. So in slugging, Yelich has a little bit of a lead, but it's a 4-for-4 game with 2 doubles is all Bellinger's away. On base percentage, dude, .3. They're basically having the exact same year. Batting average, Bellinger's 332 as of this talk right now, and Yelich is 337. That's essentially the same.
If the season ended tomorrow, that's what I'm saying.
It could be co. It'd be co.
I really couldn't say that's what I'm saying. You'd just be like, hey, it's co-MVPs. You guys are freaking. I'm not even going to give it to one of these.
Yeah, and Bellinger is a better fielder. So when you count in wins above replacement, Bellinger is a 6.8. So Bellinger is responsible, basically, for those that don't understand wins above replacement, is if you replace Bellinger with the average player at his position, the player that isn't bad, isn't good, the Dodgers would have 6.8 less wins. And if you did the same with Yelich, they would have 5.9 less wins.
The offensive would take
No, it's both. That takes in defense and offense. Yeah. If it was just offense, Yelich is 5.5 and Bellinger is 5.2. Wow, so it's really close. Yeah, Bellinger is just a little bit. Yeah, the reason is Yelich. What does he play? Is he a left fielder or right fielder? He's not a center fielder, is he?
You know what? They've been moving him all around. I thought I saw him in center field recently. I'm pretty sure he's center field.
They do move around. I know Bellinger gets moved around too because that really affects WAR a lot because center field's considered harder. Yeah, harder. So if you're a good center fielder, this is why even Byron Buxton's WAR actually looks pretty good because he's such a good center fielder, right? Even though he's hitting 260 or something like that.
This makes me this should make people want to
That's actually fun to watch
of the season. Right now because you want to see some Brewers games. Dodgers game, see how these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know.
Anyway, that was 2 Thursdays we missed, but we made a Monday morning.
Good.
I think let's do Sundays for Monday mornings.
I like our topics. We went basketball. We went baseball,
fighting,
UFC,
baseball,
boxing.
of course. This is Chaotic Sports. Chris Sarda, Angelo Sorboro, and find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter. Me at Chris Sarda, and chaoticsports.com. Thank you guys for listening.